Hello, welcome to your channel. First dates can be nerve-wracking, but there is nothing to fear. Learning how to behave on a first date just comes down to one thing: being yourself. First dates are akin to going on a roller coaster ride while drunk. There's the initial hesitation, after which you decide to go for it, then comes the excitement, and finally the "oh crap, I am seriously regretting this" moment a few seconds before the drop. In the same way, the first date drags you through the same emotions. And knowing how to behave on a first date is crucial to how it all ends. Far too many people make their excuses and bail on a first date before it begins. It's understandable to a degree because first dates are super scary. But, look at it this way: you're having a conversation with another person. They're a human being, just like you are. They're no different to you, and they certainly shouldn't be treated as such. When you pull everything down to the same level because that's what it is, it's not so scary, is it? For sure, you really like this person and you find them super attractive, but try to put that aside for now and just focus on having a conversation. After all, you're just getting to know one another right now. 1. The most important rule when learning how to behave on a first date: be yourself. It may sound overly used and cliched, but being yourself is probably the summary of all the tips to follow. As mentioned, the nerve-wracking preparation for a first date gives a tendency for people to overdo things in order to make a good impression. And this often leads to things getting awkward during the actual date because people put up an act that doesn't fit their usual self. Learning how to behave on a first date literally means just being yourself. 2. Calm yourself beforehand. You are not on trial, in an interview, nor asking their hand in marriage. Again, overthinking only leads you to screw up, so calm down and let things run their natural course. This way, you find your groove and focus on the actual moment, not on what the other person might think of every move you make. 3. Leave ulterior motives at home. Even if you think you can bag it and have sex with them on the first date, it will be better for you to leave those thoughts for a later time. Use the first date to establish a good impression, and most of all, have a good time with them. After all, it is not wise to gamble all of your chips in the opening hand. Learning how to behave on a first date comes down to focusing on getting to know the person, and nothing more. Well, of course, unless both of you are meeting up only for a hookup. 4. Always be on time. Punctuality is sexy. Being late even with a valid excuse gives the impression that you don't value the time the other person allotted for that date. Arrive on time, or better yet, a few minutes earlier. By being late, you're showing total disrespect for the other person. It's not the best start, is it? And it's not how to behave on a first date either. 5. Guys, be a gentleman. Being a gentleman never gets old, and the ladies appreciate the display of chivalry. You know how it works: opening the door for her, pulling out a chair, taking her coat, and getting her a cab if you can't walk or drive her home. 6. Be attentive to your date. This means being sensitive if they are comfortable with the location, the food, and the topics you converse about. You don't need to ask your date if they're okay every minute, but it's about taking in nonverbal cues that suggest if they're bored or uncomfortable. Being attentive also calls for you to not let yourself be distracted by other things in the environment which give the impression that you're not interested in your date. 7. Keep touches friendly and casual. Though not forbidden to touch on the first date, it is advisable that these touches lean towards the friendly and harmless side. A friendly tap on the shoulder or a touch of the arm for reassurance, but nothing more. Wait for your date to take the touching up to the next level before you respond in kind. Also, look at how they react to any touch. If they seem annoyed or disturbed by it, don't do it again. Back off. 8. Use your sense of humor. How to act on a first date. Use that sense of humor you were born with. The best way to make the date memorable and enjoyable is by filling it with laughter. If you consider yourself the comedian, then use the moment to charm your date with your sense of humor. Girls in particular are endeared to a guy with a good sense of humor. Guys, on the other hand, also think a funny lady is a sexy lady. One word of advice: keep the jokes smart and appropriate. 9. How to behave on a first date. Don't hog the conversation. Don't get overexcited and start machine gunning your date with questions, making the topic transition uncomfortably fast. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe.